Hi, and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. Again, this is Fritz. Just wanted to update you on some of the latest things around the NBA. Also, talking about for the Knicks fans, the latest two signings and what that means for us in the short term, and what does it mean for us in the long term. Um, First bit of NBA news we saw yesterday: the Cleveland Cavaliers clinched the playoff spot early. So first team in the NBA to clinch a playoff spot. It's no surprise we will be seeing them in the playoffs. They are far ahead of most of the NBA. It's just seems to be between them and OKC to find out who's going to have the best record. Cavs are well on their way. They've been coasting all year. Their players are well rested, playing 30 minutes or less a game for most of for their starters. So they're going to be a real opponent for any team in the East and West, possibly. Um, so Cleveland is well on their way. Okay, so the Cavs definitely are making news. Also, the Sixers are now in 12th place in the East. They're plummeting. We see the decision to shut down Embiid. It's just the latest thing, and it just confirms where they're at, where their mind is at, and that's just tanking. So early in the year, we thought Sixers. Some people are calling Sixers the only competition for the Celtics, but we see that it looks like they're not even going to make the play-in this year. Um, okay, so about that news. So got out the way for my Knicks fans. The Knicks filled two-way spots for the deadline. So we did see Obi Toppin's little brother. We also saw Matt Ryan being cut, and those two players being cut isn't. I don't think it's really a reflection on them, or the Knicks were unhappy with them. I think it's just their contract has run its course. These are two-way. These are two-way contracts, so the max you can play them is 50 games, and Jacob Toppin has pretty much reached that limit. So there was going to be no more games with the big club. So with the Knicks, there weren't going to be any more games. So it was just a good thing. Release him. Give him an opportunity to play elsewhere. So what did he do? The Knicks released him, and he got picked up by Atlanta. So that's a good way that he can get exposed to another NBA team. And with Atlanta being where there is, they're open to playing anybody. So perhaps he can get the right mix of players and maybe make a name for himself. Maybe he can earn a spot where he can get an NBA contract next year. There's a lot of room for growth there. 50 games per season, Miguel P. I'm sorry, 50 games per season. Um, so that means that, yeah, he was at his limit. We weren't going to see him in New York anymore. He could have played in Westchester more, but with the actual Knicks, that wasn't going to happen. Um, just want to check in with my online. Miguel P is in the chat. Andios NYK is in the chat. Blue Orange Tears, of course, salute. Um, so I'm really glad you guys could join us. So what do these two new signings mean? So at first, what I'm going to do is we're just going to look at some of the numbers. Okay, Marjan Beauchamp. So Marjan Beauchamp is from the Bucks. He has had some impactful games versus the Knicks. We saw him early make an impact with the Milwaukee Bucks. But since he's kind of faded out, We do see that he does have NBA experience, 129 games NBA experience. This is technically, his third season. The numbers don't jump out at you, but one thing that does jump out is the effort, and the measurables. So 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. So like the wingspan is probably more important than the height. I know a lot of us Knicks fans, toward this deadline, we were asking, hey, we need wings. We need as many wings as we can get, experienced wings. I don't think that's the case in Marjon Beauchamp. I don't think the Knicks are signing him to a 2A because they think that he's going to be some kind of missing piece for the Knicks. I think this is what, last year they start using the word pre-agency, which is kind of you jump the line and you're kind of looking at next year, over you're looking at next year before anybody else is. So the back of the roster next year, could he be one of those people? Yes. I would kind of put him where they kind of put Kevin McCullough, as somebody probably who will probably be on the team next year. So if you look at the whole concept, the Knicks signed these two-way players to possibly sign as the 15th player. So even if they don't sign him as the 15th player, they will have him on the Westchester squad, and they can look at him, and then Summer League, he can come back. That's the way they're looking at it. But I do think that they're going to sign someone from the 15th player between Beauchamp, between the second player, which is was it Anton. I think they're going to, or TJ Warren, or the other names. I think they're still going to sign the 15th player, but this date up here is what's important. So the playoff roster is set in April 14th. I don't think the Knicks are in a rush to sign that 15th player. I know yesterday a lot of people were saying, oh, they should just sign the 15th player now and then integrate them with the team. This is the 15th player. Don't look for Tibbs to put this 15th player in the rotation. This is a break glass in an emergency. There's no plans to probably play the 15th player on the Knicks. So you can kind of take your time, and then closer to this date, April 14th, you can make a decision. Marja, does Beauchamp look like he's impactful player on the look? Does he look like he's going to be something next year? Perhaps I can get him just with the guys integrated this year. Could a TJ Warren be someone as a vet who can impact the team without being on the floor? Beauchamp has a amazing story, coming from homelessness to the NBA. I know a lot of us remember him being interviewed by Monica McNutt when he got drafted. He was just absolutely balling. A professional, a person that people really like. So get him in, have him work out with Westchester, have him hang out with the Knicks, see if there's any potential for next year. And if it looks like, he's our guy for next year, put him on the squad now. Sign him for multiple years. Don't just think about to the end of the year. Perhaps I can jump onto next year by giving him a 2-year contract. And the advantage of giving him a 2-way contract is, hey, I can sign him for the rest of the year, and I can make his next year conditional. So, hey, something that happens in the summer, hey, I could put him in the trade. Oh, it doesn't look like we're going to have enough money. Oh, I can cut him. It just opens up a lot of options for the Knicks. I think that's what the Knicks are looking at, beyond adding a rotation piece. The other player in this trade, I'm sorry, in these two-way signings, Anton Watson, little taller, 6'8". When they made this signing, I had no clue who this was. Had to look on YouTube, had to look up a lot of videos to see what's his game. Not the fastest player, but he seemed very skilled. And the Knicks, who lack height, having a forward who kind of reminds you of kind of like McCullough, not as fast, but has skills. This could be someone who can be interesting as a project. One thing shown here: 0 games in the NBA. So we're not talking about someone at all. You're talking about in the playoffs, or even a break glass in emergency. So we're talking about perhaps the look at him is, hey, is he the guy that I can sign and get a jump on next year as a project? Totally different situation. Okay. So those are the 2 players that the Knicks look at. So the Knicks have 3 two-way spots, and the third is Kevin McCullough. I don't think, even though Kevin McCullough is a two-way spot, I don't think there's any way that the Knicks sign McCullough this season to an NBA contract. I don't think there's any advantage for the Knicks. It wouldn't be an advantage for McCullough, but for the Knicks, he's theirs. So next summer you can sign him to a contract if you like. I think the Knicks are kind of looking at this 15th spot as like a freebie. Instead of just signing someone, can I get a jump on next year? If you have any questions, you could just throw it in the chat. Yeah, I see Blanche Tears. Yep. Okay. So Blanche Tears sees him as Evan Fournier archetype. Yeah, tall shooter, skilled, not gonna jump out the gym. But if it's gonna be an advantage this year, there's no harm in it. Also, the Knicks, their draft situation right now, it looks like the Knicks may have 1 second-round pick for this summer. So the Knicks aren't gonna go into the draft and make splash. So what is a way to restock without those draft picks is looking at guys like him on the G League, who basically could be a draft pick. Blorn Shears asks, is there a tall point guard type the Knicks can trade for this summer? Actually, let me see. Tall point guard type. Actually, I wasn't really looking at point guards yet. The one player who just sticks out, who's right now who is looking like a Duthiero. So last year he was a point guard at 6'5", but he grew up, he physically has grown to 6'8". So right now he looks like a big shooting guard, small forward type, but has like really good skills. I don't think physically his body probably has to work on things, but he's kind of reminds me kind of like of maybe T-Mac, where his size and his skills, he had small skills even though he was a bigger player. That's someone who's really sticking out. I haven't really looked at point guards. Um, you know, I just look at Tyler Kolek, and it's, you know, if he could just work on those on the defense, Tyler Kolek is the guy. Like, I you know, he's so skilled. I think he's either the guy to trade. I I really would like to see him here, but I think other teams can even just look at his skill and just see that he's valuable as well. All right, so these are, yeah, just the things I want to go, just want to review with you today. So, again, keep in mind this date, April 14th. So as we get closer to that date, the Knicks will make their decision. Um, Another date to keep in mind, April 1st begins these two players are eligible to play with the Knicks and play with the G League team. So they will play some um, competition where there's some stakes in it. So we'll see how they respond there. Perhaps they can earn themselves a spot on the big club. I still would don't rule out TJ Warren for the big club. Um, Moses Brown, as my guy Lee Esposito says, his defense and drop isn't so great. That's probably why he isn't. The Knicks aren't clamoring to sign him. Um, Lee makes some great observations there. Also, his offense, he's just he wants to play offense. That's not exactly where the Knicks want to do. With the center position, that's kind of Cat's thing. They're looking for a defensive presence, um, but it's kind of all open right now. Um, I really would like to thank y'all for joining. I will be coming out with more regular content. The last week I put up probably 3 videos. I didn't get a lot of views, but if you want to review it, I think I talked a little bit about the Sixers situation. Um, Also about the Roommates podcast, Playoff P podcast, subjects such as that. Um, I really want to thank y'all for joining. I want to shout out Andios, Miguel P, my guy, Orange Tears. Um, yep. Yeah. Orange Tears also, he puts out his draft pick, Kanan Catchings. Um, yeah, that's a nice name to look at. Yeah, right now it looks like the Knicks will be drafting in the 50s. Um, they may be drafting in the 50s. Um, there's always, things they can do to try to move up. But right now we're looking like we're in the 50s. 2026 though, looks like we'll have a few picks. Will they use some of those picks to move up this year? We will see. We will see. So I really want to thank y'all for joining us. With that, I would like to say a great day, and I will see you the next time.